Hello, race fans. Jimmy McNerney coming to you from the third floor studio here at Turfway Park. We have a wonderful race card planned for you this Saturday evening, ladies' night at the track, and we have 8 races scheduled tonight. 8 races. Temperature in the low to mid 50s. We do have some slight rain in the area here scheduled for the next couple hours. Nothing major, but it is sprinkling out right now. But nonetheless, the polytrack will stay fast. It may change the track a little bit where the speed is a little bit more conducive if we get enough rain. But right now, I don't expect any bias. So with that being said, we have 41 minutes to post. We'll get right into the handicapping here. And the first race starts the pick 5. Now, I think this pick 5 probably may not pay as much as the pick 4 because there's going to be a single in the first leg. Everybody's single in the 4, who is even money, and of course has a lot of money in the show pool too. 99% of the money in the show pool currently on the 4 Road 2. But that is my top pick in here, and Road 2 is trained by Jimmy Chapman. Johnny McKee rides, and 6-5, deservedly so, even money now, bet down just a little bit. It's a filly 3-year-old open 15. Now this one has won the exact same race by double digits in each of the last 2 races. Time before he won by better than 12, and last time by better than 10. Been a heavy favorite both times. Now this one will be close up to the pace, and we'll make a move into the turn now. The only other horse in the race I think has a chance of beating the 4 is the 5 Rhino Spot. She was very impressive on debut when getting off at 34-1 for Philippe Vin, and Glenn Thomason came back in a first level allowance race and ran a very respectable 4th. That was against much tougher than anything in this field, and I think the exacta is ice cold. Now, for 3rd, I'm going to go at number 3, Kimberly Dream. She comes from a very good barn. Brian Michael, a very good trainer, and this is the daughter of Colonel John, who made her first start off a brief freshening last start, and that was in a 10th, the same 15 down to 10 that Road 2 won, and it was 3rd beating 11 lengths, but did have a little bit of trouble beginning and ran on willingly, was closing late. Now, this race, I don't think there's a tremendous amount of speed other than Rhino Spot. I think she'll go. She may have company. I don't know if Shooty's Girl can keep up with her or Love You More. I don't think either one of those are quick enough. But Kimberly Dream, I think, will pick up the pieces. 4-5-3 for me easily in race 1. Now, race 2 starts the 14% takeout pick 4. I think this pick 4 is going to pay boxcars tonight. I think there are several horses that can win, especially the first 3 legs of the sequence. And now I'm going to spread in those first 3 legs. And in this race, it's a 2 in a year going a mile. I think 6 horses, in fact, can win the race. I end up putting number 2, Money Talker, on top. Now, this one was 3rd beating a link last start to Froster Fripper. Kind of made a move and just kind of flattened out and hung, if you will, on the class drop, and got beat a link, but Froster Frippery came back after that and was 3rd here for the nickel, and then went to Oaklawn yesterday and won a 62.50 claimer by open links with Johnny McKee John Court for Jeff Barkley. But number 2, Money Talker, a 10-year-old veteran, I'm going to put him on top just barely, and number 1, Red Hot Warrior, I'll use that one for 2nd. And 3rd, Wild Zambezi. This is another one coming out of a couple of good races. That last race was 6 beating 8 lengths. That was a condition climb. But go back to the race before that where he was 3rd. Those 2 horses that beat him both came back and won last night. Improviser won on the step up in class once again. Wire-to-wire victory here last night. And Charm come rolling off the pace for Ricky Short and Rogelio Miranda. And so that one's coming out of a good race, but keeping good company. I like 2, 1, 6. I would also throw the 5 and 8 in, or maybe even the 7 if your budget allows us on that pick 4. Like I said, I advise to spread as much as you can. You need a lot of coverage of the first 3 races, especially in the race we're getting ready to talk about, race number 3. In the 3rd race, it is a maiden 5 claimer going 6 furlongs, and in that race there is a scratch of the 7. I think any horse can win in that race. I end up settling for number 4, Colombiano, as my top pick. Now, that's a 10-1 shot who ran 3rd last time against a couple of horses in the same field. Was already beaten by Aces and A2 7-5 on the morning line. I just think the possible pace setup will benefit this horse, but I am hitting the all button in here. I'm using every single horse in the race. The horse I like the most is Drawn the Rails, so I can't use him in my top 3, but number 8, Trade Troubadour, is another one who is a price 6-1 on the morning line. I'll add that one. I'll throw in the 3 Aces and 8s for my top pick, 4, 8, 3, but I am going to punch the all button in the pick 4. Fourth race for Kelly's 46th birthday race, and that is a filly and mare non-2 allowance to go a mile. Another wide open race. I think every horse but the outside horse can win in here, and you can make a case for all of them. There are several horses here with speed in the race, so I think it's going to be a pretty hot tempo up top, and that should, in my opinion, set up for number 4, Sugar Bow, a daughter of Oxbow, who is making her second start on the poly track. Her lone poly track start, she was 5th, beaten 3 lengths to Charmin Dixie and a couple other horses in this race, but I think with the benefit of the trip over the track, this horse and the possible pace set up, this horse has a big shot. Number 6, She Might Tell. She's a Florida bred, but she's another that will benefit from a really hot tempo up top. Rodney Prescott, a very good rider. This one comes from the barn of Joe Davis, 3-1 on the morning line. She Might Tell. I put her in second. It was just a head bob for me between those two. The only reason I put the 4 on top is because of the price. And then for third, I went for number 7, Sista's Ready from the Lopresti barn. Now, 2 back, she ran a great race. Should have won. The jockey about fell off in the last 70 yards and then claimed foul pretty much on himself. Obviously, it was disallowed, but he kind of had his head down and rode up on heels and almost clipped heels and almost fell off. Came back. The barn switched riders the next time, and the horse just threw a clunker. I'm going to take a shot, draw a line through it. Senior Hisby picks up the call today. Has a couple decent works at Keeneland, 2 back. He was the second best of 7 that day, But a very wide open race is this 4th race, the allowance non-2 to go a mile. I'm going at 4, 6, 7. Race number 5, it ends the early pick 5, early pick 4, and starts the late pick 4. Now, this is another race I think a couple of different horses can win, but number 7, Break the Deal, if he runs his race on the class drop, the cut back in distance, I think it all goes through him. Break the Deal gets the services of veteran Perry Oots, who's just 1 win away from the coveted 8th spot in the all-time win list on victories here in North America. And Break the Deal will make the point. Perry will send and he has natural speed anyway, but he's been in front and faded the last couple of starts. That was going 6 and 6.5 respectively. Cuts back to the 5 furlongs, drop for the nickel, and I think that is the horse to beat, number 7, Break the Deal. Now, for second, I'm going with number 9, Twinkling Night. Ran a really bang-up race here, first start over the poly track, came back. They thought so much of that race, they had put him in a starter, scratched out of the starter, opt for the 75 non-2. And was the beaten favorite, beaten off 15 lengths, ran 4th. I look for a better effort from that one tonight. I don't mind the cutback in distance. And then number 2, Swami Genius. We saw this one last start make its first polytrack start, and it ran off the screen. Now, that was not a very good race at all as far as the company he was in with. He did run impressive. I can't take anything away from that. There is, a little bit of speed in here, so that is, my only concern with my top pick as singling. But I'm going 7-9-2 in race number 5 with 34 minutes to post. Now, the 6th race sponsored by The Wood. The folks from Norwood are here. The Norwood Night here at the track sponsoring race number 6. It's a maiden filly and mare 30-20 claimant event to go 6.5 furlongs. And in this race, we will find my best bet of the night at 3-1. My best bet of the night, number 7, Fashionably Awesome. She ran at Keeneland on debut in a maiden special weight 3-year-old filly restricted race. Now, she was 8th, beaten 18 lengths, but got a pretty decent buyer that night. I don't think there's a lot of class in this field. Now, she has been showing some really, really good works at Keeneland. She's well-bred, making this first poly-track start. She's out of by Awesome again, out of an Indian Charlie mare. Mark Hubley, a very, very good trainer, and I think she gets paid tonight. My best bet of the night, 3-1. That is in race number 6. Now, the only horse in the race I think that has any form besides her, number 6, Curlin Coed. Now, she hasn't raced since Belterra, and those Belterra races aren't very tough, those straight maidens over there. Sometimes the filly races can get a little bit tougher because you'll get some of the top barns in Kentucky bring those fillies over there just to try to get their maiden broken, so they do have some residual value as brood mares. But once they get that maiden broke, that increases their value so much. So sometimes those races are a little bit tough, but not always. But she did run 4th on debut, come back against a really good horse, Sunset Paulo Joe, and was 7th, beaten about 24 lengths. And this one shows a bullet here. Last start, the first of 10 on February 7th. After that, I'm going to go with the first-time starter from the West Barn. Aaron West does pretty good all the time, but he does very well with firsters. And this daughter, daughter of Data Link, has a big shot, 4-1. That is my third choice, 7-6-2 for me. I'd like to welcome in Nick Caruso joining us from Tampa, blowing up my phone as we try to continue on with these final 2 races on the card. And the 7th race in allowance optional claimant event. It's a filly and mare, 2 other than, to go 1 mile. And in here, number 4, Lazia Jane. First off the claim for Tommy Drury. And in this race, rather, let's get right to my long shot, though. My long shot play of the night, we almost forgot that, is here in race 7. That is number 2, Make It Maria, 12-1 on the morning line. This one, in the last start here on the Polytrack back in December, just was left with too much to do by Victor LeBron that night, was third beaten 8 lengths, and, you know, had a slow start, was stuck down along the rail, and just he left her with too much to do. But I think she'll be a little bit closer today, and I think Johnny McKee, he'll have her out in the clear and rolling at 12-1. My top pick of the race, number 4, Lazia Jane. First off the claim for Tommy Drury. She ran a bang-up race last start, come through along the rail, got through and got up in the head bob finish there. But the time before, what I like the most is that 3rd place finish you'll see against Broken Promise. Now, Broken Promise is riding a 4 or 5 race win streak, I think. He recently just won the Kentucky Cup Classic Preview Stakes here. It was the prep for the Kentucky Cup Classic. Again, the Kentucky Cup Classic prep. And this one was a filly taking on the boys. And now she's back in Wins the Girls once again. Goes to a really, really top barn. She's my top pick for third, number 5, Lunar Approach. Now, Lunar Approach comes from the barn of Doug Cowens. Gets Rafael Mojica, doesn't have a very good win percentage here at the meeting, but Lunar Approach did crush a field of 3 other than foes at Mahoning, and at 5-1, I will give her some consideration. 8th race, a maiden 3-year-old $7,500 claimer to go a mile will scratch the 1A Spunky Kitten. I think the one Link to Destiny stands out in this field. 2.5-1 on the morning line with Luan Machado. This one should be up and after the pace with that inside draw. And after that, number 8 Super Clear on the class drop for Tracy Young. And then we'll round it on out with number 2 Karas, another South Florida Invader. 182 for me. That's the way I see him in the first 8 races. We thank you for tuning in. And don't forget tonight, Ladies Night here at the track. Some specials going on with that. And also, I believe the hat giveaway still going on, the 2019 edition of the Jeff Ruby Stakes hat commemorative cap given away tonight. You'll have to have a Turfway Club card to receive that hat. If you don't, head on over to the membership booth. It's free to sign up. Currently with 29 minutes to post, we will pause for the cause here, come back with the changes as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.